The distress beacon pierced through the cosmic silence like a desperate cry. James adjusted his scanner aboard the survey vessel Wanderer's Hope, his weathered hands moving with practiced efficiency across the holographic display. 3 years of deep space exploration had taught him to distinguish between automated malfunctions and genuine emergencies. This signal carried the unmistakable signature of biological distress. "Aliana, I'm picking up something unusual on the third moon of Kepler 442b," James called out to his co-pilot. Aliana emerged from the engineering bay, wiping lubricant from her hands. Her dark eyes narrowed as she studied the readings. "That's outside our survey perimeter. Command won't authorize the fuel expenditure." "Since when do we follow every rule?" James grinned, already plotting the course correction. She sighed, but her lips curved into a reluctant smile. "You're going to get us court-martialed one day." 20 minutes later, the Wanderer's Hope descended through the moon's thin atmosphere, its hull groaning against unexpected gravity variations. The landscape below resembled a frozen nightmare. Crystalline formations jutted from purple ice fields, and bioluminescent fungi created an eerie twilight across the barren terrain. The beacon led them to a narrow canyon where their sensors detected faint life signs. James and Aliana suited up, their breath fogging inside their helmets as they activated the heating units. The temperature outside registered at -60°C. They found her huddled in a shallow cave, barely visible against the violet rock. The creature was unlike anything in the xenobiological databases, roughly lupin in structure, but her fur shimmered with iridescent patterns that shifted like oil on water. Her 6 legs were drawn protectively around something small and fragile. Blood, a strange silver-blue color, stained the ice beneath her. "Oh my God," Aliana whispered. "She's nursing." Indeed, clutched against the creature's chest was a pup, its eyes still closed, mewling softly as it fed. The mother's breathing was labored, and a vicious wound across her flank suggested an encounter with one of the moon's apex predators, or perhaps a territorial dispute gone wrong. When the creature's golden eyes locked onto the humans, James expected aggression. Instead, he saw something that transcended species: desperate, pleading hope. The universal language of a mother protecting her child. "She's dying," James said quietly, checking his medical scanner. "Massive internal hemorrhaging. Even if we had the right equipment, I don't think we could save her." The alien mother made a sound, part whimper, part growl, and did something that made both humans freeze. She gently pushed her pup forward, away from her body, toward them. The tiny creature tumbled across the ice, crying out in confusion. "She wants us to take it," Aliana breathed, her voice cracking. "We can't. Regulations explicitly forbid." James. Aliana turned to him, her eyes blazing behind her helmet's visor. "Look at her. She knows she's dying. She's asking us to save her baby." The mother made that sound again, more insistent now. Her strength was fading. They could see it in how her body trembled, how her breathing became increasingly shallow. With what must have been her last reserve of energy, she pushed the pup again, sliding it across the ice until it bumped against James's boot. He looked down at the tiny creature. No bigger than a terrier puppy, its fur not yet developed the iridescent quality of its mother's. It looked up at him with eyes that had just opened, revealing a startling azure blue. The pup made a small, questioning sound. James knelt down slowly. Every protocol, every first contact regulation, every quarantine procedure screamed at him to walk away. Humanity had learned hard lessons about interfering with alien ecosystems. The Interstellar Council had imposed strict penalties for unauthorized contact with sentient species. But this wasn't about protocols. This was about a dying mother's final wish. "What do we name him?" James asked softly, carefully scooping the pup into his arms. Aliana laughed, a sound mixed with tears. "You're really going to do this?" "We're really going to do this," he corrected. The mother watched as James cradled her offspring against his chest. Some emotion, relief, gratitude, perhaps even love flickered across her alien features. She made one last sound, softer now, almost like a sigh of contentment. Then her eyes closed, and her breathing stilled. The silence in the cave was profound. Back aboard the Wanderer's Hope, they created a makeshift nest in the medical bay. Aliana ran every diagnostic she could, while James researched xenobiology texts, trying to determine what the pup might eat. To their surprise, it accepted a synthesized protein mixture without hesitation. Lapping it up eagerly from Aliana's hand. "We're going to be in so much trouble," Aliana said, watching the pup curl up in a thermal blanket. "Worth it," James replied. They named him Starlight, for the way his fur was beginning to shimmer like distant nebulae. As they set course back toward human space, James couldn't help but think about what they'd done. Humanity had explored the stars for centuries, cataloging worlds and species with cold scientific precision. They'd built an empire on logic and regulation, but sometimes, the most human thing to do was to ignore the rules entirely. In the cargo hold, Starlight yipped softly in his sleep, dreaming whatever dreams alien wolf pups dreamed. And in that moment, James understood something profound. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their ambition. It was their capacity for compassion, their willingness to act when action seemed foolish, their instinct to protect the vulnerable even when that vulnerability wore an alien face. The Interstellar Council would probably find them. Command would definitely reprimand them. But as Aliana squeezed his hand and smiled at the sleeping pup, James knew they'd made the right choice. After all, what was humanity if not the species that looked into the eyes of the unknown and chose love over fear?